أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم. بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. الحمد لله رب العالمين الرحمن الرحيم مالك يوم الدين إياك نعبد وإياك نستعين اهدنا الصراط المستقيم صراط الذين أنعمت عليهم غير المغضوب عليهم ولا الضالين.
In the name of Allah, the most gracious, the most merciful, and may the peace and blessings of Allah Almighty be upon His last and beloved Messenger Muhammad. And may the peace and blessings of Allah, God Almighty, be upon you all. The title of this lecture is How to Understand Magic and Envy from the Noble Quran from a scientific point of view. To start with envy, a lot of people have the misconception that envy, that certain people, they have the power to inflict harm on another by their power of envying a person. Now this is completely wrong, and people believing in such concepts, they are in so much mental disturbances from these kind of beliefs. Now Allah God Almighty teaches us the true meaning of envy from the Noble Quran in chapter 12, where Allah God Almighty states that the story what happened between Joseph, peace be upon him, Prophet Joseph, peace be upon him, and his father Jacob, peace be upon him, where it stated, as you can see on the screen, in verse 4, remember when Joseph said to his father, O my father, verily I saw 11 stars, and the sun and the moon, I saw them prostrating themselves to me. So in this Quranic verse, Joseph, peace be upon him, is telling his father Jacob that he saw a vision from Allah, God Almighty, which gives the glad tidings that Joseph, peace be upon him, is close to the Almighty. Now, let us reflect and ponder about the answer, the response of Jacob to his son. In verse 5, he said, O my son, relate not your vision to your brothers. Why? So Jacob told Joseph not to relate this vision to his brothers. Why? Because they will envy him. And envy means the wishing of a blessing to be removed from a person. Then if we continue, least they arrange a plot against you. So they will, this next step, that they will strive by physical means to remove this blessing from you. So envy from the Noble Quran is for a person to wish the removal of a blessing from a person and to strive by physical means to remove it. For example, if somebody purchases a new car and somebody envies him, he wants that car to be removed, he will go by physical means and destroy it. That's envy. For example, if somebody got a good position in a company or so forth, and somebody envies him, he will strive to make plots against him, so he will strive by physical means to remove this blessing. So this is the true meaning of envy, and it's not like, and it's contrary to what people believe about envy, that there are certain mystical powers that go from a certain person, and this blue stone or this horseshoe will save you from it. Now, at the end of the Quranic verse, Jacob says, verily, Satan is an open enemy to humans. Now, why did Jacob relate all this envy to Satan? Now, the question about Satan, if you ask an atheist about Satan, he will tell you that Satan does not exist. If you ask a Christian or a Jew, he will tell you that there is Satan, but it's a mystical figure. It's in fairy tales. If you ask a Muslim, he will tell you that Satan exists, but he does not know any kind of mechanism on how Satan affects him with. So the people in their ignorance about Satan, there is so much ignorance about this topic. Now Allah God Almighty teaches us in the Noble Quran, how does Satan affect people? And can be summarized as follows. Every one of us has the voice of oneself. The voice you speak with is the voice of yourself. The voice of Jack, the voice of Zaid, the voice of Ali, the voice of Muhammad. The voice you speak with is the voice of yourself. And it's the same voice you hear in your head when you think quietly to yourself. When you think quietly, you hear the same voice you speak with in your head, and that's normal, and that's the voice of oneself. Now, every one of us, according to Islam, he has a devil, a companion devil, which is assigned to him from birth till his death. So there's a companion devil which is assigned to you. With every human, there is no exception here. And this companion devil, he tries to afflict harm on you. But the question arises now, how does he accomplish this? Now, the answer can be found in the Quran in chapter 17, verse 64, where Allah states, "And befool them with your voice." So Satan befools you, this companion devil befools you and tricks you with his voice. Now, what's the voice of Satan? Allah states in the Quran in chapter 114, verse 4, "And from the envy who hides and whispers." So your companion devil, he talks to you, he whispers to you, but at the same time, he tries to hide himself from you. So we have an equation here. How can your companion devil speak to you and at the same time make you think that he does not exist? The only way for him to accomplish this is if he matches his voice to the voice you think with. So the companion devil matches his voice, the frequency of his voice, the tone of his voice, even the language that you know, to your own voice, the voice you think with. And you have certain ideas in your head and you think yourself is telling you this. Now, how to distinguish between your ideas and those of Satan that you hear in your head? Allah states in the Quran chapter 2, verse 168, the ideas that Satan whispers to humans with, that he whispers to you ideas of harm, to hurt yourself and others, ideas of lust, perverted sexual ideas, ideas of blasphemy, to say about Allah what you have no knowledge of. For example, not to believe in the Noble Quran, not to believe in Prophet Muhammad, peace be upon him. So these ideas, when they come to your head, they are from your companion, they're from Satan, not from yourself. So what does this have to do with magic and envy? Sorry, with envy, what I'm talking about. Now, the reason Jacob said that verily Satan is an open enemy to humans is that Satan, when you see, for example, a blessing on another person, Satan comes to your companion devil with a voice matching the one you think with, and you hear these ideas in your head as if you're thinking to yourself with these ideas, telling you, for example, that he does not deserve this blessing, you deserve it, and if you go and destroy this blessing, you are doing a favor, you are doing a very good deed. So he gives you the arguments for you to do and to inflict harm on others. So that's the link. So the main cause of envy is Satan. Now there is another kind of very serious thing that people fell into from Satan. That Satan comes to you with a voice matching the one you think with and tells you, for example, if you believe in this blue stone, or this horseshoe, it will protect you from the harm of someone who envies. And if you believe that this stone or this horseshoe protects you from envy, you are associating partners with Allah, which is the greatest sin in Islam, is to associate partners with Allah. And associating partners with Allah means that you give from the power of the Creator to a created being. So if you believe that this stone or horseshoe will protect you from envy, you are associating partners with Allah. It's a very serious thing. Now to come to magic. What is the correct understanding of magic from the Noble Quran? Now magic, from a linguistic point of view, means to see something in opposite to its true nature. So, for example, if you see a blue color green, you are, for example, your eyes befall magic on them. So you are mesmerized, you are under the influence of magic if you see something against its true nature. Now Allah God Almighty teaches us the true meaning of magic from the Noble Quran. Now in the story of Moses, peace upon him, with the pharaohs of Egypt, Allah Almighty states that the magic there was that the people, the magicians, the pharaoh magicians, they put the people in an environment which engenders or produces fear. And when a person in that environment, for example, if somebody is walking in a dark alley, which is cold, and he's in an environment of fear, and he sees a piece of cloth next to him, it's moving. Now he thinks that's a snake. So the condition of fear makes you see things opposite to true nature. So that's the first thing, the first kind of magic, which is the magic of fear. And being in an environment which produces fear, you imagine things that are not there. Now the second type of magic, as stated in the Quran, that the magic caused by Satan, your companion devil. How is that? For example, he comes to the husband and tells him about his wife, that your wife is cheating on you, your wife is not beautiful, your wife is so and so. So he makes the husband to see his wife in opposite way to her true nature. So that the man is under the influence of magic, i.e. he's imagining things which are not there. So the cause of that is his companion devil, Satan. And Satan, the companion devil, comes to the wife and tells her, your husband is so and so, he's cheating on you, all these kind of lies, to make her see her husband in opposite nature, opposite is true kind of nature of her husband. Now, so this is the magic of the devils on people. Now, to know more about these topics, please visit my website www.quran-miracle.com, and you can email me on zaidquran@yahoo.com. And may the peace and blessings of Allah be upon you all.